Today we're going to look at how to evaluate a website. So today we're going to learn how to check a website for relevance, bias, currency, reliability, and accessibility. The first one we're going to be looking at is relevance. Okay, so when you're looking at a website, one of the first things you need to do is ask yourself, is this website good for me? So some of the guiding questions that you can look at are, does this website actually answer my question? Does it support my point of view or even go against it? And do I understand the information on this website? Okay, so for the purposes of this assignment, I decided to Google what are the benefits of eating organic food. And then, like a typical student, I picked one of the top 3 sites that popped up. Now, this website here is from helpguide.org, and when I looked at it right off the bat, I thought, wow, that's pretty good. Nice and clear site. It has good, clear title. It looks at the benefits and basics of organic food and how to keep it affordable. And if I look at the right of my screen, it also has the Harvard Health logo. And so all of this to me seems to indicate that I'm probably on the right track to getting a pretty good website. The next thing we're going to be looking at is reliability. So can I count on the information of this website? So if I'm looking at reliability, some questions I can ask myself are, is this author even qualified? Should I be checking on this author's background? Is the information an opinion or is it fact? Has the information been reviewed for the accuracy of that information? And is there maybe even a works cited list or some credit given for the information from other sources? So any of these things would be important to look at for the credibility and reliability of the source. So when I thought about the reliability of the website, I saw the Harvard sign, and that made me feel a little bit more confident because I recognized Harvard as being a very good medical school. So I wanted to make sure, however, that I wasn't being fooled and that I was really dealing with the real Harvard school and not just, some guy named Harvard. So I decided that I would click on the logo and continue on to the next portion of the site, which would explain a little bit more about what the collaboration actually entailed between Harvard and the Help Guide. And when I got there, I was actually encouraged again. So it does talk about the fact that Harvard Medical School is helping Help Guide to publish this online site to help readers, and that a lot of the information on the site is kind of a watered down version from Harvard Health publications as well. So I thought, okay, this is actually not too bad. Another option also was that at the top you could click and see a lot of the other contributors. So in the Our People, it has a variety of different people that are contributors to the site, and a lot of them are actually have quite amazing qualifications. And so this helps me to feel a little bit more confident about using this site, and I do believe that it is relatively reliable. Bias is the next thing we're going to be looking at. Some of the questions that I need to ask myself when I'm looking at bias is, does the author have a purpose? And can I identify what it is? When the author is writing, is it mostly opinion or fact? And the last thing, is more than one point of view on the issue being presented or not? When I checked for bias, I was a little bit encouraged by the .org address that I found on the website. So that made me feel a little bit more secure about the motivations behind the website. And then when I looked into it a little further, and they talked about a little further on about the nonprofit organization, I saw that it was established in 2012. It is dedicated to charitable and educational purposes. And so I feel that as far as bias is concerned, this should relatively be quite objective. Let's take a quick look at currency. On this issue of currency, we need to ask ourselves, do we need information to be really up to date last minute, or is historical information fine? And the last thing is, when was this website created and when was it last updated? So can I count on this information being right now and relevant for my project? When I check the website to see currency, I'm trying to find the last date that it may have been updated. We all know that websites do often get updated, and I would like it to be relatively recent because I am talking about scientific research. So I don't want anything historical. I don't want something from 100 years ago. I want something that is new and up to date. So when I find the renewal or updated section of this website, I'm really encouraged because it was done in April of 2017, which is less than 6 months ago. So this is good for me. It's great for my information because I know it will be relevant to what is happening in our society today. The last thing I'm looking at is accessibility. Some really important questions that I need to ask myself when I'm looking at the accessibility of the information is, do I actually understand any of it? Is it really difficult for me to get through this website, or do I get it? Is it easy for me to navigate through this website? Does it offer a clear format with headings and subheadings? Can I easily access this information? This is important because you can have the most amazing information in the world, and if you can't understand it, it's really not useful to you. So this is an important aspect of evaluating website for your use. Accessibility is really important for me, and it should be for you. There's no point, as I said earlier on, to find a website that is so overly complicated or very difficult to navigate, and it makes your project and also the sort of fun that you can get out of researching and finding information null and void. So if I look at this website, I'm actually quite happy because it provides me with some nice, easy headings and bolds the important information, so I can navigate through this website easily and I can find the information relatively quickly. Another thing that it contains are really good resources and references. So there's one in particular that is dealing with how to find organic foods in Canada. And if I look at all about the general information or information they have on GMOs and pesticides, I find that the websites and the resources that they are sending me to are, again, credible sources like Scientific America, organic.org, and the Mayo Clinic. So these are great places if I want to continue my research and look into these ideas further. Great places that I can go, and they're right here on this website sending me somewhere that is maybe even better. So all in all, this is, to me, a pretty good site. It's relevant, reliable, current, relatively objective, and quite accessible. So if you were looking for a site to find some information on organic foods, I would say that this would be a very good site for you to use for your project.